야, 다 소소소한테 용바 가와이라 요바이나 다 드리용 가죠. 드리 미사겠다네 아미디시에 세네는 좀 물리라. 어디지 첨부치 쓰기도 와서 어디 이제 다 강가로로 아마는 또 시표겠다네. 야, 지루 강가 요소를 다시 되라 뭐 보여스.
So then today, as usual, for the teaching, Geshe offers greetings, but today is a little bit special because we are very close to the festival of Mother's Day, which is something that is seen as very important in this world. And so Geshe would like to say his tashidele, his greetings, especially to the mothers of all this world, but also all of his Dharma friends.
다시 또 아마 세대대 그냥 같이 뭐 달리라 원다고 됐어요. 이나요. 알아서 제지로서 또 와이나요. 아메테 고노 차바니 인고 주바니 주대 아마라 마테나 데모토리 디세 뭐지 하래. 어떤 일한테는 다 주주간에 간지니야. 좀 보시면 흉하래스.
So if we think about the kindness of the mother in just an easy way, just from the perspective of this life alone, we can think about the extraordinary kindness that she showed us when we were taking form within her womb and also after we were born, from the time that we were small, the loving care that she gave us.
다 소설을 쓰면 아마 되게 소설 보기 때문에 다 보게 될래요. 보지도 기워지도 다 벌써 주바스나 주주 손으로 걸어서 내가 지금 알았어.
And we see that generally mothers, they are, from the time that the child is very small, mainly putting the benefit of the child, thinking about the child turning out well as their main focus and dedicating so many of their activities to that.
다 대지보요 말했어요. 전부 대디야 대지보요 말아와서 빼나 야자와 도저히 생각이나요. 그러고 좀봐도 인지가 그게 사회라고 되게라고 저때 소소 아마라 아마디 인생 가디나 인가서 빼도 마순데 대수는데 왔어.
So not only that, but also if we think about what mothers teach us, His Holiness the Dalai Lama always many times has stated that when we speak about love and compassion, it was his mother who taught him those qualities of love and compassion, who planted the seeds for those within him.
든지지래 다 든지지네 다 아마야 보지라 다 빼자니 사람들 가지 더더게 소소 이제 뭐 손으로 돈에라 당기네레 자신벌에 손바스 좋아지구나 어떠니 디겠더니 될라때네 될 가지제야 아니 가지바 들레바 셰야라고 다 되지 손으로 치는 거 알았어.
So then, using the mother as the main example, then we can think about the mother's care for us. Think about their kindness. And as we contemplate that, what will happen is there will be a feeling that arises. And then, based upon that feeling, recognizing that kindness, there becomes a wish to do something to repay that kindness.
아니 뭐 가시다 뭐도 말해 가시 주주 근이 되는데와 여보 마시는 바제 뭐 쉬는 강에지 제가 알았어. 다 되지지더니 아마사 자침벌에 스르노서 마가와시는 거 알았어. 다 대체인데 집벌 체네 다 야체산에 따와이나 젠데 집벌 체네 소도요 말해서 거 알았어.
So then there may be some people who, because of various obstacles or difficult experiences in their life, they may have had difficult relationships with their mother. And then when you talk about reflecting on the kindness of the mother and wishing to repay the kindness of the mother, there comes like an aversion or a dislike for that way of thinking. But a possible answer to that would be just from the limited view of the particular circumstances of one lifetime. You have to think beyond that, of the many more times mothers have shown kindness in other lives.
다 대용 텐텐들 바지 뭐 쉬운 바데 소소를 내도 렌데가 잡아지고 요아래 다 저저데 아니 다 지에 뭐 지라데 바지 쉬운 바이 다냐 든지지려 마도 말아서 소소인의 자체 뭐 나세 대한테 저왕이네 요나 쇼와네 쇼와코 통도 마도 내서 가가래 다 수지 마도 바트세나마도 쇼와래 로가 이자 파말라테네 로가라 와스카레가.
So, of course, we can have this understanding that whatever those difficulties, if we had a difficult relationship in the present lifetime, that this, of course, arises due to causes and conditions. So there's the rule of cause and effect. Part of what happened, we created the cause for that. But also we understand that that we call the self or the I, this is something that is just beyond one lifetime. And the self will have to journey from lifetime to lifetime until we reach Buddhahood, until we reach enlightenment. And as we journey from lifetime to lifetime, our coming in to the world will depend upon our parents, upon our mother and father. So it is important to develop this way of thinking.
다 들이대는 데는 사람들 로조 같이 자침고 술로가 지도는 데는 가서 듣다마 대체기라 간디 때 뭐지다 봐요.
So then connected with this, Geshe would like to share a verse of the mind training of the Lojong teachings, the 8 verses, and so he will share this and a brief explanation of that.
다 로종 지지메 어느 술로가 동보들 가리어서나 너는 세계 통제라 이제 너를 리라 대주 드비서 뭐이 또 기본적 바쇼 스탠디 술로가 지야래 스타진 뭐지.
So Geshe is reading the first of these verses, which he said is very precious, from the 8 verses of Training the Mind by Langri Tangpa, and the verse goes like this: By thinking of all sentient beings as more precious than a wish-fulfilling jewel, for accomplishing the highest aim, I will always hold them dear.
리라고디와 말했대 갈래 소노토나 소속의 대시든 내와요 아이서 이니 민증간조 되는
So, of course, in the beginning it might seem overwhelming, but if you think about it slowly, it is something that is really beneficial, because really being able to regard beings in this way is something that lasting happiness depends upon.
나는 세계 통제라 이제 너를 리라비 아니 나로서 첸디가 다 아마된 예조 저거 아래 너무 치도로와 어떤디고 너네 아마된 년제 조이자 아니 senche moso zubate kale chendigi nye ama zoyin ama baba zoyin baba oda tsena nye zo karina ite nujiji gazetata one takuyare stotsi tomboti da trisungduas.
So Geshe is just explaining the meaning of the first 2 lines of the verse, by thinking of all sentient beings as more precious than a wish-fulfilling jewel. So how do we do this? We think about, usually the example is given as the mother who is closest to us and who is kindest to us. And so we try to, in terms of the regard, the feeling of appreciation we have for our mother, we try to see all sentient beings as being similarly close, as being similarly precious, as being equally kind to whoever is closest to us in our life, our mother, our father, and so forth.
다 senche 통제 드리지는 딱 계약이 지체 가르레스. 저한테 지체 저 가르레스.
So what's the reason that we have to see all sentient beings as being like that? What's the reason that we have to see all sentient beings as being similarly kind?
다 드리졌다와 이는 어느 대시대 세계 통제를 반로 그래 소소로 좀 근데 대우다 제사야지.
So we have to check, and we can see that actually, like, we can bring happiness to beings, but mainly what happens is, from seeing all sentient beings in this way, we create the causes for our own happiness, right? It's like the root of happiness.
다 세계 통제에서 내가 드리졌다와 이는 이제 노벨이 좀 하바래 숨도 왔지도 버티거라. 이제 노벨에야 되가 저 소속 지라바 있는 소속 무슨디 강에 소속 농미 차소 얼마 어다 무슨지 강에 차소 오지 고세야 걸어보겠니 받아보지
Yishinor. And so then the next part says, as more precious than a wish-fulfilling jewel. We're supposed to see beings as more precious than a wish-fulfilling jewel. So what is a wish-fulfilling jewel? It is something that can help one achieve all one's wishes in that lifetime, all the stability and happiness of the family, and also all of the wishes for peace in a country and so forth. So it's a very powerful thing, this wish-fulfilling jewel.
다 키니바 드리지래도 다 생제 무슨 조바 첸디게 당길라바 노지 아마 자침보이나 아마 빠바 자침보이나 빠 대노지 된다 예 자침보 한 레벨 보게 가리도 공화 야보치 따토바이나.
So that's how precious a wish-fulfilling jewel is. But if we can see beings as being more precious than that, if we are able to see all beings as being just as important to, just as kind as our mother, just as kind as our father, just as kind as whoever is closest to us in our life, if we are able to see beings with that kind of affectionate love, what are the benefits?
다 드리치는 소모지 갈래 전에 대해서 지다 토바이나 토리 먹게 잘해면도 와스 소소 비야가 대시 내가 그건데 기워 그건데 와스 다 됐다 될 바제 세계 맞아 토도 컨트롤해서 봐 내가 로기 코로스 거 아니라 고로스를 내가 되게 요 말이지.
So then, in terms of thinking about this, what are the benefits if we bring forth this mind that sees beings like this? We are able to become happier. Why? Because when we bring forth this mind that sees all sentient beings as more precious than that wish-fulfilling jewel, because of that positive mental state, then all of the unwholesome minds like anger, pride, jealousy, and so forth, they have no space to arise within the mind, right? They're subdued.
that's 소설 니가리나 니마니마니 소설 기고 소설 레레 뭐세 시원도 야 지금 그 아래 대도 녀도 소설 놈이 소설 진지 봐 뭐도 던데 세이나 레레 지는 거야 거기까지 되게 왔어.
And so what happens when we cultivate this mind? Well, we achieve not only this temporary happiness from day to day, we become more happy and relaxed, but because of that, we are able to bring more happiness to our family, we are able to bring more happiness to our neighbors, to those close to us, and eventually we are able to bring more happiness to contribute to the happiness of all sentient beings, whether human, animal, or so forth.
내가 든지 거가 여보지 할 레베더니 그래 계속 같이 뭐 그래도 전부지 야 이제 남아서 가별로 티주 가와이나요 손바지 대서나 로데 쇼든 그래.
So because thinking in this way provides all of these opportunities, allows us to achieve these perfect aims of happiness, Lama Tsongkhapa says in many of his Lamrim or stages of the path texts, through thinking of the welfare of others, one's own welfare is naturally achieved.
당으로서 매게 세 이내 그게 싫어 고셔야 다 고셔야 사는 분들 든지지는 지다 더 와이는 이내도 그게 니바디 대용 거야. 니바디 고시는 거야.
So if we are able to think in this way, not only will we be able to bring forth the practices of method and wisdom, but from thinking in this way, we can really make our mind more effective. We can activate the potential of our mind.
다원은 든지지는 이도 공화 세제 강가로로 아니 얘자 전부지 통하고 그게 좋아하고 휴소나 다 대지 같은 대 가리침보이자 말을 가리침보 통용 그래 가리침보도 도서나 대라 가리파 들래 시야 같은 손세 때문에.
So, of course, if we have cultivated this mind of affectionate love, which is seeing all of these beings as being close to us, if we really have this feeling of being close to them and seeing or perceiving their kindness, then naturally what arises in our mind is a wish to return the favor, to repay that kindness, and we are naturally compelled into action to benefit others.
어떤 대초도 줘봐. 다 고로서 까지 그게 딜랭이네 제바이나 아다 칼라 니가질 칼라 제바도 돌로 제바도 대지고 말아와스 대초도 줘봐. 대지니바 대여수 가르래. 고로서 타와도 니레 타와도 도저히 말이야 해야 돼. 아니 줘도 줘봐. 내가 될 제용 그래.
And so on the basis of that, on really seeing them as being unbearably close to one, then what we want to do is we want to achieve the highest aim. We go beyond just wanting to provide that temporary help to the highest aim. Why do we do that? Because we want to hold them dear, and because we hold them so dear, we want to bring this ultimate highest aim of benefit. We want to be able to lead them to complete liberation from suffering. We want to be able to lead them to the unsurpassed state of enlightenment.
다 대초도 주비로 아니 기반적으로 쇼스가 디나 자치 뭐 첸디그니 자치쇼 노지 아니 So
then for accomplishing the highest aim, I will always hold them dear. That means we want to achieve this highest aim and lead them there, but also in order to do that, we will see them as being just like whoever is closest to us in our life. And so this verse is also a prayer to be able to bring forth that vision, to be able to do that. And so in the beginning, of course, when we speak about achieving the highest aim, it seems far off. So it's a little bit difficult for us as beginners to comprehend that. That's normal.
바제 지키게 세 몸보지 디와스.
So then don't become discouraged. Why? Well, just think of the situation, right? We have these unwholesome minds or these negative minds such as anger and so forth. And what those unwholesome minds do is they sort of block or they act as an obstacle to bringing forth this love, compassion, and so forth that we are trying to establish.
오다 단다 코 대질 할레비슈 첨보도 니바 첨본다보지 요아르 대 가르레서나 마로서 첸데 지고 말에 시오 몸보 자조 몸보질 코로스로 공바시에서 이자 에 니바 첨본다보 가서 몸하시고 요아르.
And so why is it that this anger and these other afflicted minds are sort of blocking our progress? They're acting as these powerful obstacles. Well, this is because of the force of habituation, right? It's because we have become habituated to these negative minds over many previous lifetimes.
다대 지그 말에 코로스로 공비가 니반다고 슈 첨보지 요아르 마도 덴바 요아 말에 코로스 퍼게 떼사가 셈대요 마리바 로루바지래.
But don't become discouraged. Why not? Because we need to understand that because of habituation, these unwholesome minds may seem powerful, but they are not grounded in truth, right? They are false. Why are they false? Because they are grounded in ignorance, which is a fundamentally mistaken perception or mind.
다대 이니 문제 세는 아니라 다 오늘 쇼바도 이제 대도 말아와 가르레서나 코로스로 가르서 공비 니바 슈 첨보지 메아르 마도 아니 고민이 빠테스 가로서 슈자바지나 데미니 빠자샤 자토마 코로스로 요아이자 오타 슈체르체르로네라 아니 다시만 와야지 요아레스.
So we need to keep this in mind, but you also need to think in terms of these wholesome minds, the positive mental qualities that you're trying to develop, like love and compassion. Because of a lack of habituation, we can't maybe bring them forth as powerfully as we want right now. But because they are based on reality, because they are grounded in truth, the more that we engage with love and compassion, the more and more powerful and flourishing they will become.
그래서 드디 지내지마 드디 레가스 제바이나 코로스 가로서 세도 레와치 촤소나 가로서 저와 저쪽 두쪽 뭐바데 디세 지를 발로 바와노지 세노아 가로서 계속 쳔보지 요아이자 가뱅은 레가지 요아레스.
So we want to proceed with cultivating joyfully, happily. Why? Because we understand that in terms of these instructions and these positive mental qualities, if we continue to put effort to mix them with our mind, slowly obstacles will be cleared away, and one day the darkness of ignorance will be completely gone. It is just like turning on a light, and whatever darkness was there, it is completely gone. It is illuminated away.
오다 콘로츠오시 베트네 니냐 게이세 아니 페도메베 세르지 페메바조지 요비 제가르레트. 쇼바도 이제 전주지 셀라소바 가제 슈셰르로네라 타시만 로에 비제 제가르레트 당일라바노지 제고돈 주고지네 트레파요 콘로.
So then in terms of just really kind of contemplating what was touched upon in terms of anger and these other unwholesome minds and why they are mistaken, and in terms of these wholesome minds, or we call them positive mental qualities like love, compassion, bodhicitta, and so forth, in terms of the reasons, because they're based on truth, that these can be flourished and eventually perfected more and more. These are things that you can understand yourself by thinking about them again and again and engaging in analytical and placement meditation.
오다 뽑아 침비토니 가비 원내는 밀리아보데 무체야보데 다시 제바지 이도 되면 거니 가서 터던 로야 가서 가게 레와자니라
가랭이당 덴페
다시 제바지
답시 개발chen
이여라 다 벗어서 시라 벗어서 이도 되면 터는 무체야보데
So understanding all of these principles, then as much as possible, please make this human rebirth worthwhile by cultivating these perfected methods for arising the practices of both method and wisdom. So thank you, Tashidele. Greetings to all. We'll end here.